Tonight on CTV, hear student predictions about the big game this Sunday.
Then, find out how this CSU alum is changing the way students study.
All this and more tonight on CTV. Good evening, Rams. I'm Naomi Hillmer.
And I'm Abby Flores.
A body was recovered from the Cache-la-Poudre River Wednesday afternoon near the river's edge natural area. Poudre Fire worked with the Fort Collins Police Department to retrieve the body after somebody called in a report.
The police stated there was no foul play or suspicious circumstances surrounding the death, but the investigation is still in its early stages. The Larimer County coroner is yet to release the cause and manner of death.
Now we're going to go live to Adam Carlson here to give you this week's weather rundown. Adam?
Good evening, Rams. I'm Adam Carlson, and I'm here to give you your weather rundown for the week. Now, the weather recently may blow you away, so let's jump right in. Current conditions, it's going to be 25 out with only 6 miles per hour of wind, much better than we saw earlier today, and humidity at 50%. And while it's almost a week away, you might want to start preparing now. Next Wednesday, Fort Collins will get hit with a major cold front, giving us high levels of wind, hitting 40 miles per hour. While today we saw around 27 miles per hour, I am certainly not excited for more wind. For overnight lows, we're going to see down the I-25 corridor all around the 10s, Denver giving us the high is 18, and in the eastern plain, Lyman at a low of 4. Once we head over to the mountains, we'll see Craig at negative 11, Vail having 1 more degree than I do, and Gunnison negative 17. Tomorrow's highs, we're going to see 42 in Fort Collins, down the I-25 corridor, all around those 40s, eastern plain lowering a bit to those 30s, and the mountains crazy as ever. Gunnison at 9, and then Grand Junction giving us our high at 42. Tomorrow, what can you expect? You can expect 42 degrees as our high, 23 as our low. It's going to be sunny out, a little less humid, and wind at 6 miles per hour, thankfully. Sunset will also be at 5:28. Now, for the 5-day forecast and your weekend, it's going to be generally cloudy, 51 Saturday, lowering throughout the week. Tuesday giving us some rain at 46 is our high. And then Wednesday, once again, we'll get hit with that wind and snowstorm. And that will bring me to the end of my forecast for you all tonight. Back to you, Abby.
Thanks, Adam. This Sunday, the big game is just around the corner. But before you get your party on, the No DUI Larimer Coalition wants to remind the Fort Collins community about the dangers of driving under the influence. According to the coalition, incidences involving drunk driving is 22% higher on this specific Sunday than any other Sunday of the year. Beyond the safety concerns, getting a DUI in Colorado has consequences that can range from appearing in court, serving jail time, being placed on probation, or having your driver's license suspended. No DUI Larimer wants to emphasize to make the call to end impaired driving. Whether it is utilizing rideshare apps to get home safely or offering friends a place to stay, the goal of this campaign is to promote safe drinking and responsible driving in northern Colorado.
A 2-story home caught fire early Wednesday morning in the 2000 block of Churchill Court near Kent Way. Poudre Valley Fire Department was unable to enter the home until after their arrival to maintain safety precautions. Once the fire department was able to enter the scene, they controlled the flames rather quickly and were able to clear the area. There is no immediate information about the cause of the fire or if anybody was injured.
That's all we have for you right now, but stick around because Naomi and I will be right back with more news after this break.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. If you think your tuition costs too much, think again. CSU's Board of Governors proposed an increase in tuition last week by 3% for in-state tuition and a 4% increase for out-of-state tuition. This means the difference of a couple $1,000s for students to pay the university each year. At a recent ASCSU meeting, the Board of Governors sought a response from the student body after petitions opposing the increase circulated online and around campus. The Speaker of the ASCSU Senate, Nick DeSalvo, said that their response may hold more weight for the Board of Governors and that students are not their piggy bank.
There are only 14 commercially certified airports in Colorado, one of which is the Northern Colorado Regional Airport. Back in October of 2022, city leaders in Loveland have approved its portion of $1 million to rebuild a brand new terminal by 2024. This would bring an opportunity for commercial service to return after some turbulent relations in 2012, when flight carriers such as Allegiant and Avelo left due to the lack of air traffic control tower. Despite the want to bring back travelers, the Fort Collins City Council is at odds with the proposal and is yet to approve their share. Loveland is committed to making the terminal happen. In the meantime, Fort Collins will put their portion of funding to a council vote on February 21st.
Nearly 7 years after the debate over what to do with the Hughes Stadium land, CSU is hoping to close on the sale of the space this March. The area that nestles itself against Horsetooth Reservoir right under the Classic A sign will be preserved as public open land and sold to the city of Fort Collins. The sale and purchase of the Hughes Stadium land has been up to much debate in the years following the demolition of the beloved stadium in 2018. By early 2019, a preliminary plan was made to sell the land to a housing developer, Leonard Homes, who planned on placing 600 to 700 homes in the area. But this did not come without opposition, which brought to question if the land would be better fit as a natural area.
I'd rather like to see open space. I think they should make it into a park.
Preserving the natural area.
The fate of this land was then left to the Fort Collins City Council, who were tasked with rezoning the area and if they would even allow 600 to 700 homes where the stadium once presided. John Keefelaws, who was the state senator during the early stages of the Hughes land conversation, admits that although he did not have a direct influence on the matter, he would have liked to see the area be developed to make space for affordable housing.
Ultimately the voters decided. I think they gathered signatures, they had a citizens ballot initiative, and I think it's important for folks to understand that's an example of direct democracy.
And after many delays, by 2021, the city has finally made a decision to make this land public open space, which is where we stand today. And all that was left for CSU was to sell it to the city for approximately $12 million.
Once they make the purchase of that property, which I think is going to happen probably within the next couple of months, they need to further engage the community and determine what are the best options. For people who enjoy the open space, like CSU student Erica Haynes, they're happy to see the area be preserved.
I mean, nature is beautiful, especially here in Fort Collins, and it should definitely be kept as a safe space.
What the city plans to make of this open land is yet to be disclosed, but the possibilities are endless.
The first semester of college is often an exciting time, especially when it comes to dorm living. Some CSU students, however, will tell you a different story. Back in fall of 2022, CSU admitted more students than living spaces available. This led to more than 100 first years getting placed in overflow housing. They stayed at the Best Western University Inn, a hotel across the street from campus. Although the situation was unexpected, the CSU housing and dining services were finally able to accommodate all students in the dorms this semester. Sharing space in college dorms is hard sometimes. Some students, however, like Josephine Ruth, struggled with distance last semester.
Well, I looked on the housing portal and I was like, oh, I really hope that I have a dorm. And then I saw University Inn and I was like, what is that? So I researched it and I saw that it was the Best Western that was right off of campus. And I was like, cool. And then I heard that there was quad rooms. And I was one of the 8 people that got into a quad room out of a ton of us.
Living in the Best Western was a unique situation, and it's because too many students were admitted to CSU.
I feel like I was able to adjust, but whenever I moved out, I didn't have a lot of the friends that I had there, just because we were so close, because we were always together. We were all hanging out all the time, so it was a little difficult after I moved out, but it was fun.
The overflow of students coming to Fort Collins is connected to the difficulty of finding the right place to live. And since 2020, the Fort Collins housing market indicated an increase of $80,000 in the median home price. So although all students are finally outside the Best Western, housing is still a bit of a hassle.
Everybody thought it was the most terrible thing ever whenever we first got to school, but I made some good friends.
Living at the Best Western University Inn presented a challenge, but it seems that students there were able to create and foster community to still make it feel like home. Now, we're going live in the studio to Bella Walser, here to tell you about a CSU alum who now spends his time teaching students how to study. Bella?
Thanks, Abby. Colorado State graduate Aiden Lewis has used his background in neuroscience to help students succeed academically and professionally. I wanted to hear from some CSU students to see what helps them succeed in the classroom. Aiden Lewis is a RAM grad who worked at CSU as a peer mentor before deciding to launch his company, NeuroLearn, to help students study.
I was really involved with helping the next generation of Rams really become the best people that can be. And through those experiences, I realized that the educational system right now isn't set up for everyone. It leaves a lot of people by the wayside.
NeuroLearn offers tutoring that focuses on teaching students how to more efficiently study and learn using neuroscience. The 4 different programs offered allow each student to specialize with what they need.
Where you can really minimize the time that you're studying, minimize the money you're putting into studying, but also maximizing performance at the same time.
I feel like last semester I was taking more credits and it was pretty stressful. So I feel like if I'm taking anything more than like 15 credits, then I really start to feel pressure.
In stressful situations, the hindbrain can actually overpower the forebrain, causing someone to not think as clearly.
So in our forebrain, you may have heard of the prefrontal cortex, and a lot of functions in our forebrain are critical thinking, abstract thinking, even like test taking. When you're in a stressful situation, you're not thinking as clearly as you normally would be. You're acting on instinct, and that can actually repress a lot of the information that you're trying to express.
Just having a professor that's really I guess going with the flow and really easy to work with makes it a lot easier for honestly both parties. Taking advantage of zero-cost tools to boost positivity and the way people think and the way people move, the way they interact with others, the way they take notes, the way they study, making this a more enjoyable experience because life is meant to be enjoyed.
While many tutors teach students subjects like history or math, Lewis tackles the problem at the root and teaches students how to learn. Now, back to you, Abby.
It's out with the old and in with the new.
Driving around South College Avenue, you may have noticed the old Radio Shack building being demolished. This demolition is just the beginning of what will soon be a new King Soopers and fuel station that will provide grocers access to a drive-through pharmacy and garden plaza. The Kroger store has been planning the new site since 2016 and will replace the oldest King Soopers that has been in South Fort Collins for over 5 decades. However, that is not all. The abandoned Kmart across the street from the former Radio Shack is waiting to be approved for demolition to make way for the new massive King Soopers location. Although it's been a couple months since construction began, slow progress is still progress, and grocers will soon be able to shop at this location. Stick around, Rams,
because after the break, Leah Kakowski will tell you all about the upcoming softball season. You don't want to miss it.